And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam Davis, and welcome to episode 96 of the 11FS FinTech Insider Breakfast Show. In this show, we bring you the best and the brightest from around the fintech and banking landscape every single weekday, straight to your homes at 8:30 BST, so breakfast in the UK, apart from on Wednesday when we go live at 10:30 ET, that's 3:30 BST, with a special US focus show, which is what this is. And both shows, as we know, go live here on LinkedIn. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Dov Marmor, who's the COO at Railsbank in North America. Good morning. How are you doing, Dov?
Good morning. Doing well, Adam. How are you?
Yeah, I am not too bad, thank you. I'm not too bad. Where are you dialing in from?
I am right outside DC in the beautiful country. It is a gorgeous sunny day, so all good so far.
Good signs, good signs. So as always, we love getting your questions. Leave them in the comments sidebar. We'll be answering them live for you as soon as we can. And yeah, fire away with questions as and when you have them. Dov, I really want to talk about Railsbank, obviously the expansion in the States, potentially a little bit on open banking. So lots and lots to get through. First of all, though, do you want to just give a very brief overview of who Railsbank are for those who haven't heard of you guys, but then also your role within the organization?
Sure. So Railsbank is a platform that allows any company to prototype, build, and scale a financial use case. For example, a card in their brand, an experience in their app, kind of design it the way that they envision financial services operating within their platform. And the platform has been built to be global from the ground up. So a single API integration allows that product to operate seamlessly in multiple different countries.
Cool. And then I guess, so that's, are we kind of on the banking as a service? Are we in that sphere? Is that what you would call it? Or is it software as a service, banking as a service, that kind of, that niche, I guess?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of a combination. So one is you have the technology layers. So the ability from a developer focused angle to be able to build really unique products by having a series of APIs that kind of allow you to decouple the different components of a financial service. The second piece is the underlying Rails layer. So basically plugging that core platform into the banking architecture the companies about payment rails. Our entry into the US is actually adding a new dimension to that, which is adding credit into the platform. So the ability to develop credit cards as a service within the US market. That's somewhat of a blue ocean at this point, and kind of where all the fintechs are headed next. So we think that's a big opportunity and someplace that we're uniquely positioned to innovate and build.
Cool, yeah. And I was going to ask you the next question is why time it now to go over to the States? I mean, and I suppose when I say now, obviously it's got COVID implications, but this has obviously been a planned move for a while. So you might have been looking at this, I don't know, at some point last year. But what is it about now landing in the US? Is it the proposition because the industry is just so ripe for this kind of a credit product, or is it actually more of a I guess an infrastructure play because the banking industry is so in need for this kind of, I guess, this infrastructure product, or a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. Railsbank is a global banking platform at its core. So US is one of the biggest markets for fintech banking. So obviously we need to have a presence here. But moreover, why now is that the market is ripe to add credit into the fintech ecosystem. We're pretty far along the path of payments. We're far along the path of banking and debit. Credit is the next place that all of the players want to move into next. It's highly complex, but it's a very interesting challenge, and one where you actually have to bring together teams of really smart people to kind of make it happen. We think that Railsbank is uniquely positioned to solve that because they've built a good portion of that infrastructure already, the global mindset and the team. And then my experience in the US building kind of new products and new startups within established organizations, it seemed like a problem that we're well suited to tackle. So it's pretty exciting, and the market has received it quite well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you kind of two questions on that. First of all, in terms of the architecture of your platform, how differentiated is it between, I guess, the global platform that you guys have already got and then the US instance? So you've got, obviously you're leading with credit as a product. Does that mean you've taken kind of a slither of the platform and then adapted it to the US market, or is it a complete shift, or how's that kind of technically, how's that worked without going too technical again?
Not going too technical, sure. So just, Railsbank, based in the UK, have, over 100 and something clients across the UK and Europe, and, millions of end users. So the core platform is able to issue accounts, so the ledgers, as well as cards that sit on top of those accounts. So that's kind of the baseline of what the platform was built to do, and be able to operate globally. And then you have the compliance overlay and the Rails overlay. What we're doing is basically adding a credit component on top of that. So you're kind of, by decoupling ledger, card, and credit and putting them together on a single platform, you can start to create innovative new products that combine each one of those components, or maybe leave one out and just have two of them. You can start to piece together those different building blocks.
Cool. And then I suppose, like, target customers for this, because I can see there being a whole host of new financial players, people who want to get into global banking, who aren't regulated yet, obviously using the service. That's probably your grade A use case. But grade B actually could be potentially looking at non-FS brands, and actually, companies who want to get into financial services to a degree, but need those sort of underlying core capabilities, things like ledgers, accounts, whatever else. So I just wonder who you see as your target customer base, and also a little bit about the partnerships that you've already done in the States to take this to market.
Yeah, so we think about, this is really the concept of embedded finance, right? So there are many apps and platforms that already exist today that have millions of users, and financial services make sense within the value proposition that they provide to their clients. So there might be income smoothing for the gig economy, there might be cash flow management for the small business world, there might be adding high rewards credit cards to a millennial banking app. So there's kind of a bunch of different use cases that you can add, and each customer is going to so our customer, the platform that has millions of end users, they're each going to go ahead and say, well, this is how we think credit applies to our customer base, and this is how we think that it operates within our user experience. And we want to take those APIs and we want to build a version of that meets the needs and operates seamlessly in a way that makes sense. So that's the 10,000 foot level of who wants to build a credit as a service platform.
Cool. Okay, got it. And then Dan Feeney. Dan, thanks very much. Back again today. He's just asked a question. He says, MasterCard's recent quarterly release mentioned a 3-pillar strategy of open banking, multi-rail, and cross-border transaction platform. I think that's the strategy they've been putting in place for a while. He's asked, how can Railsbank compete against the card schemes? I mean, would you see yourselves competing against them or competing with them? It would probably be in partnership with, I would assume, rather than competing against. But how does the card schemes, I guess, play a part in what you're trying to do in the States?
The card schemes are one of the rails. So they're a partner in this. We issue card programs on Visa and MasterCard, and they're a close partner in everything that we do. They provide one valuable piece of the infrastructure, and the reason that platforms exist and why they're so valuable is if you as a new company want to go out and build all those different pieces together, you're probably looking at millions in build cost and 18 to 24 months to get an MVP to market. Obviously, that's not financially viable for a lot of companies, even the biggest companies, just to get the budget approval and the time approval to build something like that. So when you think about what a Railsbank does, it's plugging in all those different pieces, the rails, the software, and the different providers that you need to launch a holistic product into market. Already the work is done. So you're basically starting 75% of the way down the path, focusing on your user experience and how one of these financial products is going to live and exist within your environment. So that's when it becomes really powerful. You're kind of knocking down all those hurdles that used to exist in order to build a new product. And credit is just a little further back than everything else because of how complex it is versus some other financial products.
Yeah, and interesting you mentioned that. We were talking just before the show around the impact of something like open banking and what that means for infrastructure providers like yourself across products and across propositions. But speaking of credit right now, how do you think I suppose the open finance movement, I guess, is sort of helping you guys in being able to put all those experiences together and actually produce a full proposition to go to market? Because it's in the UK, certainly, and in Europe, the partnerships that some of the platforms have to make with other providers are very much governed by a certain set of standards, where in the States it's a little bit different. But I'm really interested to know how you feel like that kind of the open data and the open finance movement is sort of helping your platform and helping your clients' propositions get to market quicker.
Yeah, so I mean, any financial product obviously needs to connect to the local banking system within that country. And the open banking movement has made it easier for new technologies and new companies to connect into those banking rails and actually create new and innovative experiences. So what you're kind of seeing is a decoupling of the different roles that companies might play in financial services, where you still have the traditional banks running risk management and regulation and customer fund security and kind of all the things that they were built upon. You have companies like Railsbank building the infrastructure layer or the B2B distribution arms of actually putting those financial services into other ecosystems. And then you have the ecosystem players that are actually creating the new user experiences and the new ways that those financial services can interact with non-financial platforms. So the decoupling of those things has been largely supported by open banking, and those capabilities would not have existed if a new debit or credit card didn't interact with other aspects of the financial ecosystem. That on its own wouldn't do anything. You'd have a closed-loop gift card at the end of the day.
It's opened up the possibilities for sure. Janine D. I don't have your surname, Janine. We've just got a Janine D. But anyway, Janine asks, why do you think there's such a barrier to fintechs offering credit? We'll localize this obviously to the States. There are plenty of non-bank financial institutions in the US offering credit right now. But why do you think there's a barrier, I guess, for fintechs doing that, right? And therefore the opportunity is rife to help them.
Yeah, so there's plenty of direct-to-consumer fintech, and most of them are in the personal loan or small business loan category. So kind of the fintech lending boom was actually very large, and it's actually one of the industries that was most affected by COVID, where you're seeing a lot of those companies laying off half the staff, and it's a pretty difficult time for a lot of those companies. What I'm talking about is slightly different. So it's embedding credit into non-credit ecosystems. So how do you put credit into a global platform and make it easier for merchants to fund their receivables and do more business? How do you put credit into a neobank so that they can offer credit building solutions to their customers that in the past they wouldn't have been able to do?
Yeah.
So the complexity of adding the credit layer because of the regulation and the risk management and the capital requirements adds an entirely new area of complexity versus other business models that are pre-funded in nature and really don't have that risk component.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you're one of your initial partners, if I'm not, I'm assuming is Unifimoney. That's correct?
Correct.
I've been on their website. It looks like an awesome product, and their card looks super fantastic, really well designed. Do you want to just talk a little bit about the that partnership in itself and what you're hoping to achieve, and also the services, I guess, that you're providing with them, and when you're launching, which is probably the
Sure. Yeah, so Unifimoney, fantastic partner, really has a visionary founder, Ben Soppet. And the part of the market that they're going after is affluent millennials, and other people call them Henrys, so high earners, not rich yet. So while a lot of the neo-banking has been going down market, right, which is the underbanked,
Yes.
not a lot of focus has been put on people that actually are affluent, and they're asking the question, are the financial services that are available to those companies, are they sufficient, or can we do a better job? So they've launched with a banking and a debit card product. They're building out an offering that's kind of multifaceted, so it'll have lots of different components to it. And we're enabling the building of a credit card product that is specifically custom tailored to their demographic. So not to get too much into the sausage making or their business plan, but that's the role that we play in that ecosystem.
Cool. Yeah, I really like their website. I really like your website as well, the Railsbank site. If no one's checked it out, it's like it comes across very friendly, which I quite like. It's like it's like a motley fool, if you like, for infrastructure. It's cool. I liked it.
David, of our culture, we're very very European in that sense that like everyone has a really good time at work. There's a lot of joking around, but people are really passionate about fintech and open banking and all the different things that we can do as part of this business. And right now, it's just an exciting time to be part of that. And I think, everything we do, we try to reflect our culture in our marketing materials and in the brand. So I appreciate that you see that come through.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I was actually going to ask, following on from that, in terms of scaling a new company, well, it's not a new company, obviously, but a new entity, I guess, in a new geography during COVID, in terms of some of the positives and some of the challenges that you might have in terms of growing that business in the States right now. I know you're relatively new to the role, but like how have you found that so far, and where do you think sort of the biggest pluses and minuses are going to be sort of going forward across the next few months as you scale your team?
That's a good question. So this is definitely the first time I've started a new role completely remote. And I like it a lot more than I thought I would. The video conferencing technologies and Slack and some of the other tools that we use it takes a little time to learn and to get good at collaborating with others on these online platforms. But what it enables is we're a truly global company. So I can interact with a subject matter expert in Singapore at 1 hour of the day and another one in the UK at another hour of the day. So one of the things that COVID has brought us is this new skill set of truly operating globally, where you're sitting doesn't actually matter quite as much as what your skill set is. So that's been an interesting learning curve. In terms of fintech, I think the pace of innovation is just as strong as ever. See new jobs being posted every day, a lot of them at Railsbank. So companies are still being funded. The VC world is still very strong and bullish on this space. So it's one of the areas that I do see some growth, which is exciting. I think the market is ready for this product, and there's a lot of excitement around that. And the other thing that you kind of see is that some business models have proven not to work out, and you have really smart and talented people that have unfortunately been laid off from companies as part of this. The opportunity in all that is that those people have very unique skill sets. And if you can put together teams of different skill sets into a new environment, like building a new service, like a credit card as a service platform, it can become very collaborative, and you actually end up with really different outside the box thinking that you're not normally going to find within the four walls of a credit card bank. So we found that bringing in teams of diverse people, understanding what their strengths are and putting them to work on projects where they can really excel has improved the pace of innovation and the happiness that we see at work.
Cool. Yeah, I think the remote working and it's strangely working in the benefit of innovation and solutionizing, I guess, which is kind of odd because you would have thought it would be counterproductive to it. We're certainly finding that as well at 11FS. David Hall's just asked a question. This is a relatively technical one, so very quick answer on this. But do you guys provide the gateway connection to the card schemes, or do you need a processor partner? In the States, I guess.
Is this a sales question?
Yeah. Well, let's keep going. But thank you, Dave, for the question.
I have the perfect solution for you.
Yeah, it's a good question. Let's move on to the next one. Dan's asked another one, and this actually goes back. So you've obviously got your first use cases with the Henrys, as you called it, which I quite like the acronym. But he's asked, what is Railsbank doing to support financial inclusion for the underbanked and the non-banked? As he knows, this is, and it's on your website, this is part of your core mission. So I guess how do you sort of, I guess, embed that and that kind of thinking in the decisions that you're making, both from an architectural perspective, the platform, and the way obviously you operate the business?
Supporting the underserved is at the heart of what we do. It's a very important mission. A lot of the reason the companies have not been able to provide efficient and high value financial services to the underserved is because of the high cost of setup and the high cost of managing these platforms, right? Because there are fixed costs that are embedded in financial services. So in terms of like how we're supporting that, by building all those connections and doing it at scale for hundreds of companies where they're actually not having to go out and do all the integrations themselves and take on all the minimums themselves and do that 16-month, 24-month build themselves just to get a POC to market, we've completely lowered the cost of launching a new program, right? And by doing that, companies can pass on those savings to the customers that they support. So from a cost perspective, that's one area that we help. The other area is that the standard credit card doesn't work for everyone, right? A lot of the differentiation you can create is in the user experience and in the way that it operates within other ecosystems. So the ability to take a series of APIs and kind of design a credit card for the underbanked that maybe has a different value proposition than what you might see in another space, that's another piece. So you think about Railsbank, we're giving you the Legos, and you can kind of turn the Legos into any shape that you want. And a lot of the customers that we support are focused in that area, and we allow them to power innovation where they may have not had access to that same Lego set before companies like Railsbank enabled that.
Yeah, it's a really nice way to put it. I like that. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so I will just ask you two I guess, closing questions. First of all, I guess, what's next for Railsbank? So we've got a COVID, which in the States here, everywhere, is probably going to last the next 6 months or so, certainly through the winter, it seems like that. And I guess for you, from a scale perspective, where do you see yourselves, how do you see yourselves growing in the US? And then what's the vision, I suppose, coming out of the COVID time, if you like?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're really laser focused on our credit as a service offering here in the US. We're very focused on building a global platform. So, credit built here is going to work anywhere in the world. And we just need to go ahead and plug those rails in and kind of make sure that whole infrastructure is built out. But I see Railsbank kind of powering really big global brands to create a whole host of innovative financial products. And we're just in the early innings of being able to do that. But the team is just fantastic. The leadership is visionary. We're taking on really big challenges, really tough problems. But I think a lot comes out of that if you actually have the right infrastructure. My biggest pleasure in life is joining an established company with a good set of assets and really good people and building something new. So we're constantly innovating. Credit is the next, and after that, I'm sure it will be something else.
Is there just very quickly? Sorry, just speaking on that. Is it competitive at the moment? As in, do you feel like you're joining an industry? Because the one thing about the States is always, whenever anyone talks about sort of an infrastructure play, there's always but the market's ripe and there's enough room for everybody and this kind of stuff. Like, do you feel that the amount of infrastructure players that are looking, BaaS players looking to do a similar thing, in credit or not, is grown, or do you still feel that you're sort of one of the first?
I think we're definitely trailblazers in this space. I don't believe in Me Too products, just kind of building something that someone else has already done. The best business model is find the customer first, build something that they love, and then go find 10 other customers that look just like them. So that's always been our philosophy. We're building something that is a need in the market that's not well served today. So that creates a blue ocean opportunity that we can kind of go and use for our expansion here. And then our strategy will be to continue to follow our customers. So wherever they see the market going next and what they need us to build, we're here to serve them and to create the next level of innovation. It's the best way to build a business, in my opinion.
Cool. Awesome. Dov, thank you so much. That was really, really interesting. Love to hear. I love Railsbank as it is, but love to hear about the plans in the States, and look forward to hearing more from you guys as the months and years go on. Awesome stuff. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So folks, it's top of the hour. Dov, where can people find out more about yourself?
LinkedIn is the best place to look me up and reach me. And I'm just shoot me a personal message, very responsive, and would love to connect with the group here. Also check out our job board. We're hiring, we're growing the team, and we're looking for really talented people to join our organization and our mission. Cool.
Cool. And thanks to everybody for joining us. Just a little note that we decided at 11FS, the producers decided that one US breakfast show per week, so not to cut it. So from the 10th of August, Sam, who's the regular US host, will be back twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays in the morning. So make sure you look out for that. And tomorrow on the UK breakfast show, I'll be joined by Georgie Frost, which is pretty cool. She's the freelance journalist and reporter in finance and sports. I'm looking forward to speaking to her about two of my biggest passions for sports. So that's pretty cool. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks very much for joining.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.